remember it was such a hard time for me. I think about this now. I did both my ceremonies last year, May last year, and I was so glad. Anytime I see pictures, I cry because I must tell you, I didn't think I was going to graduate. I didn't think I was going to graduate, well, not because I wasn't good, because I thought I had failed.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to yet another edition of Behind the Scene of Talent. And today, I am delighted to welcome Strictly. Patience graduated as president with a clear vision of building a career in oil and gas. But like many professionals, the path she imagined didn't unfold exactly as planned. Despite completing her NYSC in the industry, the expected opportunity didn't come immediately. Rather than remain stuck, she pivoted, stepping into the banking sector, where she went on to perform exceptionally well. But the story is ending. She took another bold step, moving abroad for a dual master's degree, navigating challenges, uncertainties, and problems that tested our resilience. So today, we go behind the scenes of ambition, unexpected turn, global opportunity, and what it truly means to redefine success. Welcome, Patience.
Thank you. Perfect. That's such a fancy introduction.
Obviously, to celebrate your achievements and also to get to know how you were able to like move through those challenges, detours, and still like forging ahead. Like those things we don't get to see because this is like a lot of things. There are a lot of people out there who also want to like go through the path you went through, but possibly did not know those things that came before. And
Hmm.
that's exactly why we're here. So I would like you to do the introduction itself.
Thank you very much. Very honored to be here. I don't think that I've, gotten to the stage where people invite me for stuff because I think I'm still in my journey. My name is Patience. Fun fact, my first name is not Patience, but my name is Patience Emuobosa Jowo. I'm 28. I'm turning 29 in a couple of weeks. So I got my bachelor's degree in geology from Delta State University back home in Nigeria, in Delta State. And when I was done with my degree in geology, I started my NYSC in Lagos. I work in an oil servicing company. So I did oil servicing for my NYSC year. And after my NYSC, I continued with company doing oil servicing. But backtrack, during my undergraduate days, I did my undergraduate internship at Shell Nigerian company in Lagos Marina. So I already had like a good view and experience of what the oil and gas industry like. The internship was like a very good introduction for me into the oil and gas industry. It was a good better view. So I knew even as a geologist, because geology is kind of wide. So I knew as a geologist I was going to do petroleum geology. So my focus was always in the petroleum industry. Funny fact, well, somehow I'm back here in Dallas. So, being a petroleum geologist, I worked in oil and gas servicing, and then during the COVID time, especially because it was a local oil and gas servicing company, and because the big IOCs, which are the international oil and gas companies, they were not in the office, they were not a lot of things were happening during the COVID time. So the really smaller companies were really affected. So at first, they couldn't continue to keep us on as full-time staff for the full money that we were going to be paid. Everybody was being affected. And somehow a friend of mine says I always have a job because that's what because I'm always applying to jobs, like even when I have a job. So I had done some application and applied for some job like a really long time ago. And then I think I got a call that it was a new bank at that time. It was a new bank, and I've always been in science kind of STEM all my life. I've never done anything banking. I mean, I knew I was good at math, but not in anything accounting banking. But they were like, oh, they're gonna give me the offer if I come to banking school for 4 months. And I remember I was like, okay, good, better opportunity, and something that I feel like I should already say now, as a person, you should be open to opportunities. Like that's one of the biggest things because when you limit yourself, because nothing goes to waste. I think the more I talk, the more I'm going to put that into perspective. But no experience, no part of your life, no part of your experience goes to waste. Because, I mean, at the time, it looked like I was being crazy going from oil servicing, something completely different, to banking, which was entirely different from what I've known all my life. And people could even talk that. I mean, yes, it was kind of a survivor because it was COVID, but I was open to it. So I went to banking school. Banking school was tedious because it felt like they were teaching us everything people learn in college for 4 years in like a period of 4 months. So it was very, very intense. And somehow I'm grateful for that experience because that kind of prepared me for grad school. So it was really intense. Finally got to work in the bank. And I didn't work in the bank for a long time because I always had a dream, not dream, like a goal to dream, but goal to go to travel for my master's. So while I was in the banking, maybe in 1 month, a few months into banking, right? I think I got my admission into University of Oklahoma to study geology, to do my master's in geology, research geology. I remember I was really super excited. It was another, so it just felt like I was moving from one new thing to another new thing. And they are also, apart from being open, the ability to adapt because skills are transferable. If you can do one thing well, you most likely can do other things well. So that's another thing. Like apart from being open and being like, I can't do this because that's not what I'm used to doing. You should be open to new opportunities because skills are transferable. If you're disciplined in one area of your life, you most likely can transfer that level of discipline to every other area of your life. So if you can get into something new, you most likely can do other new things. You most likely can do other hard things. So I traveled for graduate school, and luckily for me, I had a good first soft landing. I mean, my first day was good. I had some of my best friends here, and it was a good thing. But like some really traumatic things happened to me, like my first week. I think someone stole my purse, I was robbed, my passport, all the money I came to the United States with. It was such a traumatic experience. My phone, everything. I was so lucky I had my friends here, my best friend. So it was not as much as a traumatic experience as it could have been. But I tell you today, I speak now because I'm still here. But that day, that week, I was like, I want to go to the embassy. They should deport me back to Nigeria because I thought to myself that if there was a sign that you're not meant to be here, this is a sign. And it was such a traumatic experience for me. But luckily for me, I had good. So that's another thing I wanted to say. I'm going to just start saying the things I want to say as I talk. So have good people. And more than anything, I'm grateful for like all the people in my life. My best friend, some of the people in my life. And I'm also grateful to SP because that's how I met. Like honestly, when I talk about a lot of things, I talk about SP. Why? Because SP or my professional experiences, how I met some of the people in my life now, people that have been in my life all my life. I met them through SPE or to my professional background. Miss Sue, I met her through SP, my best friend I met her through SP. A lot of people in my life, whether you meet them through professional background, through anywhere, you need good people in your life. People are not replaceable, like they say. People like, oh, people are replaceable. I don't know. We live in an age where people are like, oh, you don't owe anybody anything. I don't believe that. I owe people a lot of things. I wouldn't be here today without a lot of people. And I'm not even talking about all my parents or aunties, uncles, mentors. That's another thing. I have great mentors from SB. I'm even talking about my peers, my mates, friends who came in, stuck by me, were with me. They really supported me. You need to have good people. And for you to have good people, you need to be a good person. And that's it. For you to have a village, you need to be a villager in somebody else's village. And that's the thing. We owe people. So don't just say, oh, I can do bad over myself. You can, maybe, if you but I had good people in my life and, I recovered. And beyond that thing that happened to me, I remember when I came to grad school, it was such a difficult time for me because one, the educational system was different. And I was working and schooling. So I was a teaching assistant and also research assistant. So teaching assistant mean I taught. So on I actually taught like juniors, like undergrads. And I was also going to school, navigating a new country, navigating everything. And I won't lie to you, I felt like I was struggling with my academics. Why? And it was such an identity thing for me because I've graduated top of my class undergrad. I was so used to being the best. My identity was tied to being the best. My identity was tied to being number one. If I wasn't number one, like I studied. In fact, the only reason I studied was because that was the only thing I sought validation from. I mean, I know better, but bad or good, it brought me here today. I always felt like so not having now, and also I'm in a school where there are a lot of best from wherever they're coming from, right? So everybody is like, and I'm like, and also because we're learning different, like a lot of things I was learning here, I didn't have the things to learn them maybe back home in Nigeria. I was learning a lot of software. I was learning, it was such a, like, I felt like I was struggling with my academics. I was really, really trying my best, but I thought I struggled. Anyway, not only me that I know that I was struggling, no, I was doing okay and I was struggling. That was when data science started coming into the scene. Everybody was doing data science. Data science was like the new oil. Everybody was like, oh, data science. Especially after COVID, data science was like machine learning, data science, AI. In fact, companies wanted to hire you for two, like you had to have, it's like having Microsoft skills then, like you needed to have data science and analytical skills to be like, and also because as an international student, you needed to be not just good, you need to be better than most, but better than everybody in, because for them to invest in hiring you, you have to show that you're exceptional in a way. So a couple of my friends were already doing the dual degree program. Luckily for us, University of Oklahoma had this program where you can do two master's degree at the same time. You could share courses depending on your program. And then I thought, you know what? Things were not hard enough. I needed to make it harder. So I started a dual degree program, and then I was doing geology and data science, and then teaching and doing research, and I was losing my mind. And I think I had done most of my coursework. Luckily for me, my data science coursework and like some research project, but very not as research intense. Geology, I done my coursework, but my research was what I was working on. And I remember I got sick. But before that, while I was backtrack, still within my master's, I had the opportunity to intern at some really good companies. One of the company was Denbury, and Denbury now is Exxon. They were bought by Exxon, but they were one of the largest CO2 pipeline companies. They had a lot of soil recovery. I was a geologist in their team. It was a really great experience. Talking about interviewing is another thing, but luckily for me, I got the job internship. But while I was there, Exxon acquired the company, so I couldn't continue as a full-time staff as they were promised. So also while I was in my master's, I also got an opportunity to intern at Tesla. So I worked as a geologist exploring for lithium for the batteries in Tesla. That was also like a really great opportunity. But I remember then I was having some challenges because I got sick and I had to undergo a surgery, and then I couldn't complete my research deadlines, and I think I was having a lot of challenges. It was really, really like those are challenges that I can't even say, oh, but I was lucky to have other people. I got used all the resources I had that were available to me, the mentors, the professors, the school administrators and advocates that were there. We came to a resolution. I was able to graduate with my data science from the University of Oklahoma, and then I transferred my geology program from the University of Oklahoma to the University of Tulsa. They're both in the state of Oklahoma, but I transferred to the University of Tulsa, where I then completed my geology with research program at the University of Tulsa. And I remember I was actively looking for full-time position jobs because I that was kind of also the trajectory. I mean, the trajectory was never to transfer, it was to finish both degrees at the University of Oklahoma. But having transferred, I was also the trajectory was like, oh, after my dual masters, I was set for the industry. But then political climates, different things happening, the jobs were not coming. I was interviewing, I was going for all the conferences. Trust me, I was going for all the conferences, applying to all the jobs. I was doing everything I was taught to do, things I tell people to do. It wasn't just coming. And while I was in the University of Tulsa, our geology program was disintegrated because I think as a result of low admission of undergrads into geology programs. So they disintegrated our geology program, and then I think they put most of the students on the petroleum engineering. But I did graduate my geology degree. But then I started thinking about what to do. So, okay, so there were two options, right? I could either continue and do a PhD or get a job. I was actively looking for jobs and I could have continued, but I thought to myself, like, maybe that's not my trajectory, You have to try everything. That's another thing, like I said, be open to try things, right? So I remember applying to so many schools, both geology and petroleum engineering programs. And then I got a few admissions, But then University of Tulsa was like the best for me because I was already there. I'd taken some classes. I wasn't going to spend as much time if I continued. And then I started my PhD in petroleum engineering. So now not only have I switched from geology and added data science, now I'm doing petroleum engineering. And it was so much more because it's an engineering program. I had to not just take the graduate level courses. I had to take undergraduate engineering courses. So I was taking undergraduate engineering courses, petroleum engineering courses. I was taking graduate level engineering, petroleum engineering courses. I was teaching because I've always been, somehow, luckily for me, I've always been a TA. I was teaching and also doing research, and I also still volunteer and do those things. So the thing is, I didn't give up on myself. I was lucky I had people that didn't give up on me, but I didn't give up on myself. And I usually say these things like, I honestly, at the time when I was having the challenge of either transferring from a different school, I didn't think I was even going to graduate any of the degrees or anything. Well, I think I heard somewhere, I don't remember exactly where I heard this, but it says, you are a product, you are a brand. It's like selling bread. If I made bread and I was selling the bread and I wanted to sell the bread to Mistura, and I was like, Mistura, buy this bread. And Mistura is like, oh, this bread's sweet. I'm like, I don't really know, but buy it. I mean, I'm not selling the bread to Mistura because if somebody's like, oh, I don't know, buy it, it's like, oh, means if I don't know if I will eat the bread. I mean, no one's gonna buy the bread. So think of yourself as a product. If you think of yourself as a product, you think of yourself as a brand, you have to be your highest cheerleader, your highest advocate. Because if you don't sell, if you give up on yourself, no other person is gonna believe in you. If you don't believe in yourself, nobody's gonna. And let me tell you, if there's anybody that know that challenges happen in life, oh my God, I know. I'm not even like, I'm sharing the story now, laughing, smiling. I'm not going into details, but I went through some things that, even funny enough, some things can even be your fault. Because sometimes it's like, oh, something's happened to you, and even when you are the one that made the mistake, even when you are the one that fuck up, you cannot. You absolutely, if there's anything you're going to take from today's podcast or anything you're going to take from today, you mustn't give up on yourself. Yes, if you're lucky to have people, I was lucky. I'm not gonna lie, I was lucky to have people around me, my best friends, my friends. I love, like, my father, my mom, my family, my day-to-day friends, people that have lived with me, I had people, professors that didn't give up on me, administrators that said, oh, there's value here, we're going to fight for you. I did have that, and that's good. That's very good. You need that. But more than anything, you need to believe in yourself. You need to not give up on yourself because it's going to happen. And I remember when I was telling my friend about having skill through trouble, and she's like, I was like, oh my God, finally. And she's like, there's no finally, right? Because as long as you're alive, you're going to have challenges. I mean, some people have had it straight. I don't know. Thank God for their lives, but you have to not give up on yourself. You just have to be resilient enough to say, what if I don't give up on myself? What if everything moves? And you have to keep moving because as I spoke to you today, I just came through some really like brain crushing exams of midterms, undergraduate production classes, advanced production classes. Last semester was brutal. That was like my first introduction into petroleum engineering. I took Reservoir 1, Advanced Reservoir. I literally thought my brain was being smushed because I had done a lot of things before, but because I had done well in those things, I was able to transfer the skills into that. It was difficult. I won't lie. It was difficult. A lot of times, I'm like, oh, I can't do this anymore. But I have to, right? I mean, I have other things that are pushing me on my international student. I cannot say I will not do what you have to do. That's the thing. It's not a do. It's not a do or die. It's a do or do. You literally have to do it, and you actually cannot die. So you have to keep moving. I mean, that's how I would say this. This is my story from undergrad to master's and now to PhD. I've worked sometimes in the industry as an intern doing my NYSC. I worked also, and then as a student, I've been part of the industry, or and also as a student. But if there's anything, you have to not give up on yourself, be resilient, trust yourself, and sell your bread.
So I like the part you did show specializing people that for like it's more like a way and so like if you ever feel this pressure like either yourself, but sometimes breaking themselves, either
Mm.
yourself or by some friends Like you will always change how what you do it.
I'm a stubborn person. Let's start there. I'm a very stubborn person. If I say I'm gonna do something, I'm gonna do it. Like, I guess I listen, unless you're my friend, like, that's another thing. It will come off like, oh, I'm stubborn or I'm rude. I wouldn't say I'm rude, but like, if I don't know you, you can't really affect my life. In fact, the only people that can really affect my life are my close friends. Like you have to be like my mom, my dad, somebody that is really close to me that you can say something that's going to get to me, that's going to make me want to change. And even then, I'm still stubborn enough to be like, why, and all those kind of things. So if I set out to do something, I'm going to do it. And I understand the meaning. So I wouldn't say, that's what I was going to say. I wouldn't say I pivoted. And that's what I wanted to say. Everything you're doing, it's part of your journey. Now I've done a job or I've worked where I used a lot of my banking knowledge, all of my accounting knowledge, because in oil and gas, there's the financial part. And I remember being part of a project where I was the financial person in part of the project. And my banking skill really, in fact, I've had interviews or offers because of the combination I have. In fact, a lot of the time I've had interviewers or recruiters say to me, I am unique because I have other things. Because the truth is that they they are going to hire somebody for all those parts, and then you are somebody who already even has all the combinations. Yes, sometimes I've also had a recruiter say, "I've read your resume and I don't know what you are." I've had a recruiter say that to me, like, "Oh, I've read your resume. You've done so many things. You've gone like I don't know where to put you, right?" So I took that and maybe created multiple resume. But then I've had somebody who looked at my resume and interviewed me and offered me an opportunity for last summer. I did an internship with a company where they were trying to buy brownfield, and the man to my resume was like, he could not believe that one person had all of that he was looking for. So I wouldn't also, apart even if that's not your experience. Apart from that, I don't think I pivoted. I just feel like I did. It's like adding on, right? More like pivoting. I don't know. So maybe if I did medicine, yes, I pivoted. But in my experience, I feel like everything I do, because I'm in geology, petroleum geology. Um, Data science is like literally, and then petroleum engineering. So, in my opinion, and maybe in this case, they are all very related. Like, I use data science in my day-to-day life in petroleum engineering. Like, the petroleum oil and gas industry is one of the industries with the most data in the entire world. Like, we are like data banking. We have a lot of data from like the reservoirs where like so much data that being a data scientist, in fact, being a petroleum engineer without a data science inclination is even doing this. In fact, a lot of the time, most petroleum engineers are data scientists in their own right that they don't just even know about because you're dealing with so much data, right? So, and then having geology background and coming, because now you're looking at the reservoir or the field, whatever, with a more nuance because you have the geology. So in my experience, for me, I wouldn't say I pivoted. I would say I added on and I mean a lot of time it wasn't deliberate, but it turned out to be like what worked perfectly for me. And yes, do I have experience pressure? Like you said, I think in my experience, my pressure is mainly from within. Like I said, unless you know me. And luckily for me, the people I have in my life, I know people that put pressure on me. Because if you're an outside person, every now and then maybe a word will get to me. But if I don't know you, you don't know me, we don't know each other. There's nothing you can really say that's going to affect me. Some of the pressures are usually from within. I want to be the best. I want to impact. I remember I was talking to somebody one day. I was like, I'm still in school. I'm almost 30. What am I doing? And I was thinking to myself, like, am I really, like, I want to make impact. I want to do something. I want to, make impact, like I said. And that's why one of the reasons I really, really enjoy teaching so much. I love being an instructor because even while I'm still in school, I feel like I'm already making impact. I've taught like what, maybe 12, 10 to 11 semesters. And I look forward to teaching every single time because I feel like even though I'm in school, even though I've not like fully gone into the industry, I get satisfaction that I am impacting lives, I am making a difference from being the best instructor I could be as a teaching assistant or as an instructor teaching. But when it comes to pressure, yeah, I think, oh, I should be in a different place. I personally think, oh, I should be working in the industry right now. I want to be, but honestly, I must tell you, now I know. Maybe earlier, and every now and then I feel pressure, But now I know that there is nothing that goes to waste. I remember going for an interview one time, and then they gave me like a technical part of the industry of the interview rather, and it was a question I used to give my students, and I just smiled. And I'd never thought that one day being an instructor, what I teach my students is gonna be like something that I'm gonna use in the future. And they asked me, and it was like Geology 101. It didn't look like Geology 101 because if you don't know it, you don't know it. But it was like I was like, nothing really does go to waste. So yeah, pressure comes from within, yeah. And then maybe minimal pressure because I want to get, I see people that I look up to and I'm like, I want to be here. But luckily for me, I had like the people in my life, what they pressure me for is not even like academics or career because they think, oh, I have that handle. It's probably other aspects of my life that they pressure me about.
So yeah, I like the fact that you said it wasn't all like papers, but also people had so every phase of life that no experience is actually exist. So now I you mentioned several other having to keep so I don't want to keep on thinking. I mean tonight I've done into science, master's degree, then the short that we see right. So aside that, were there other like tough like the toughest for I
Let's see.
but
Oh,
start out.
I wouldn't. Two of the, if I think about my most recent, two of like some of the toughest times for me was that, like I said, the time where I needed to transfer schools. I felt like I'd failed. I felt like I'd come to the United States. Like things that people did easily, they got their masters in 2 years. Even people, I had friends who got their dual masters in 2 years, and it was not a hurdle for them. I felt like I'd failed. I really did feel like I'd failed. I remember it was such a hard time for me. I think about this now. I did both my ceremonies last year, May last year, and I was so glad. I think anytime I see pictures, I cry because I must tell you, I didn't think I was going to graduate. I didn't think I was going to graduate, well, not because I wasn't good, because I thought I had failed. And even if I knew, like, whether it was my fault or not, like a lot of things happening, I thought I had failed. I remember whenever I was trying to transfer schools, I wasn't even sure that they were going to give me data science degree, even if I had completed the requirements, right? Because what they call it, the requirement for a dual degree program means you have to graduate the two to graduate any. If you're not graduating any one, you're not graduating any. So first of all, there was the fear of I wasn't going to get out of University of Oklahoma with any of the degrees. And then I remembered, luckily for me, they separated them. They allowed me to go with their science. And I remember one time, I think during my internship, this time when I was dealing with all of this, I was doing my internship in Tesla. And it was such a difficult time for me because I remember I was driving to work one day. I'd gotten an email because I was emailing back and forth, schools administration, just trying to sort it out, like what I was, really trying to figure it out. And then I remember driving to work and I was like, "Ah, perhaps I should just call it. Perhaps I should just call it." Because I had gotten admission to some schools, but I hadn't gotten full funding, right? I was like, perhaps I should just call it. Like, my heart was so heavy. And I remember I haven't gotten to the office. I opened my email and then I saw that I had gotten my funding from the University of Tulsa. And I was thinking to myself, what if I had called it on my way to work? Maybe at the time I was even thinking, oh, let me just call it. I already even gotten the email. And that's where you have to just sometimes, yeah, it was such a difficult time. I remember being so intensely like my mind was so warped. Like it was properly warped. And I kept feeling like I was a failure. I did feel like I was a failure. In fact, I still feel ashamed that I didn't grab both my degrees from the University of Oklahoma. Even if I finished most of it and I transferred and I graduated. Like I still feel like I still feel like there's something, like there's something about not having that, oh my God, people did it, I couldn't do it that way. And everybody's story is different. I had to come to the fact that everybody's story is different and this is just how it was meant to go, right? And it was such a difficult time for me. I don't know how. I won't lie to you. I can't sit down here today and say, oh, I had it all figured out. I didn't know how. I was telling you now that I was going to work and I was like, I should just call it a day. I wasn't sure what I was gonna do. But and then I got to the work and then I got offered for a different school to transfer to the same curriculum. And that happened. Another time was whenever I came to the United States, and then they robbed me. That I was like, there was no sign. This is a sign. This is a sign I should go back to Nigeria. Like then, like I will be in school, I will sit down on the road, on the floor, like just crying, weeping, because I could not understand my luck. And that was something I struggled with a lot of my life. I always, that's something I really struggled with. I grew up thinking that things never went smooth for me. And in my opinion, and maybe because my name is literally the meaning of my first name is my own thing is different. So not my fault, maybe my parents' fault, but I grew up thinking to myself, my things I know. In fact, sometimes when I want to do something, my heart is to cut. Like I know my own will be different because I always had this thought, I always had this thought like my things are never different. My things are never straightforward. Why are they? I remember when I got into Denbury, that's when they sold the company to Exxon. Tesla, whenever I go to Tesla, that's when they say, oh, they don't want the division again because my internship was supposed to be longer, but it was cut short. And like different things happen. And when I got to the University of Tulsa, they say there's no geology program again. Like it always felt like something was different. But I think to myself, somehow I'm back in petroleum engineering because maybe that's where I needed to be. I don't know. Maybe something's happened for a reason. Something's just happened. Some things are your fault, some things are not your fault. But you cannot dwell on it. That's just the most important thing you cannot do. I've had like really difficult this at sometimes. Like I've had like health issues that really, really affected me and my performance and stuff. But that's just life. And I came to the conclusions because sometimes if you begin to say, well, I'm trying to find the meaning of why this is so difficult, it might not just be anything. It might just be this. I remember one time because I'm a Christian, and I remember going to meet a pastor to pray for me. That let me tell you, I believed something was happening. I believed that a witch was after me, and I'm not kidding you. This is not even as a motivation. I had a conviction. I had dreams that a nobody told me. I came to the conclusion myself that I have done something to one old woman in the village, and she was after my life. See, this is not. I'm telling you, this is beginning of 2025. I'm not even kidding you. I promise you, I was convinced that somebody was after my life because I was like, why were things not going? Why were things ever not going smoothly for me? Why did I have to struggle a little more? Why did I have to read a little more? Why did I have to, you know, transfer? Like to me, I felt like it was a simple issue. Because funny enough, I'm not the only one on this kind of thing that happened to. But like, why did I have to go through? I went to meet the pastor, and the pastor said, I was so disappointed. The pastor did not want to pray. He said nothing is doing me. These are growing pains. That was the first time I really came across that phrase. That these are growing pains, and I felt so disappointed because I was crying. Let me tell you, I was weeping when I was telling the pastor my story. I was weeping. I said, please pray for me, deliver me. I needed. In fact, if I was in Nigeria, I would have gone to where there's water that they should wash my head. Something is doing me. And then the pastor said that sometimes that's just life. That sometimes you just have to experience something. Some things are growing pains. And I'm really very grateful. Am I saying now, oh, I'm happy I experienced everything? I can't know. I don't know about all of my experiences, but I'm glad I'm where I am today. And I'm telling you for a fact that if not for some of the things I went through, I don't think I will be exactly where I am today or who I am today. And I remember he said these were growing pains that sometimes you have to experience some things and that's just who you are. And sometimes I remember my friends say, oh, God is building your character. That's my character is built. I don't want more. He said that these are growing pains and to be encouraged. And that's what he said to me. He said all he wants to do is encourage me that because truly, truly, my spirit was weak. Now I remember it was when I was working on my thesis to graduate from the University of Tulsa for my master's in geology program. My thesis, I was working on it. I was writing codes. Nothing was running. I remember that time I'll be writing code and I'll be praying, Jesus, 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 let this thing work. And I remember the pastor just encouraged me and said, nothing, just be encouraged, have a strong mind. And you should have a strong mind because I'm telling you, because you are alive, there's going to be challenge. And if you don't have a strong mind, then honestly, and you have that in every area of your life. And I went back and I was encouraged. I mean, I was disappointed because I was like, this pastor is not seeing the right vision, but but encouraged. And I went back and also that's the thing, because when you live your life thinking like something is after you or things are not just working for you, it's working for everybody, you have a victimhood kind of mindset. And then you feel like things are happening to you. You feel like life is happening to you. And you should never feel like life is happening to you. And life does happen. That's even the funny thing. Life actually will happen to you. But the best response is to not accept that life is happening to you or accept the victimhood mentality. Because if you do that, you're just gonna remain a victim or struggle, right? You want to thrive. You want to thrive. You want your story to be despite, not, oh, that's how this thing happened to this girl and that's what happened to her. Your story should be despite what happened to this girl or boy or what, despite, it should be despite this person, you overcame, and it's not easy. I'm talking to you now. It feels like, oh, I'm saying it because, oh, now I'm out of it. That's not the case. I know if there's anybody that knows that life is happening, like you can just be here and life will just, I know it. But your story should be despite everything that happened, everything, she's still here, she's still excelling.
Wait, that was so. Yeah, I like when he talked about the fact that you always think your body was always, but either way, it was more like the thing. It was like creating a new path for you that you did not have to really more like it's very like, because obviously, don't put that pain themselves. We actually would just remain comfortable where we are, and yeah, time will still come back to say everything you guys not doing now. It's seriously, there are so many of the things in this life. So now I want you to like share. Yeah, you talked about how your skills of banking, geology, and the likes have really helped you get some opportunities. But when we what is just like that's confident and what's that? Wow, so big. So what's practical, like say skill, or what I want to practical like things you did to actually position yourself to get that.
Okay, so when it comes to positioning yourself, like I said, I'm always applying to jobs. I'm never not applying to jobs. Like even until I get to my dream job, right? But I'm never not applying to jobs. I'm always applying for opportunities. And I can only speak about the expenses of job hunting here. You have to try everything. I go for conferences. I I go for career fair. I apply to jobs on LinkedIn. I apply to jobs on Indeed and Glasgow. I network. I reach out to my networks. I remember the Tesla job. I don't think I applied. A recruiter had reached out to me because I had an account. Because there's another thing that looks like LinkedIn. It's called Handshake, like LinkedIn, but in connection, it's like a partnership with schools, right? So the handshake of my school, the profile, I put my resume, put my stuff, and then I think a recruiter reached out to me and asked for the so and then my Denbury, I think I applied. So when you're positioning yourself, you cannot limit yourself. You must. Some people just say, "Oh, I'll just apply online." In my personal opinion, I don't know a lot of people that have applied online and just got jobs. Honestly, yeah, sometimes, but very rarely. You have to position yourself. I attend all the conferences that there is to attend. I mean, it's expensive. I look for opportunities like for scholarships, but I attend all the conferences. I network. Networking is very, very important, and you do that at conferences. So conferences are very. I know even me, I used to think, well, let me tell you, whenever I was younger, I didn't understand what it meant to network. I was like, I didn't understand. I felt like it was just eye service and all that stuff. But networking is very important. I attend conferences. I say this multiple times because a lot of conferences, that's where you network with the industry themselves. And then I also network with my professors. Like some people just use the professors to do professors. I network with my professors. Like they are my friends. We talk. We are faculty. Like, I attend faculty events. That's another thing. Your school is doing something. They say, oh, your department is doing, they are hosting one company. You would not go. Me, I go. Everything. I go everything. My school is hosting, I go. The university is hosting, I go. The organization I volunteer for is hosting, I go. And I know it's a lot. It really is a lot. Navigating all of this is a lot with everything you have to do. But you cannot not do it. And that's the truth. You do everything. In fact, I called, even at this very stage of my life, in fact, I have called somebody on LinkedIn before, and the person said to me, you shouldn't be doing this. And then I met somebody else that said, you should do this. That's the thing. Everybody has but you have to put yourself. I remember when I started LinkedIn, I was like, even till today, I use LinkedIn as like a social media. Like the way people open Instagram, that's how I open LinkedIn. And it's not just to flex. I open Instagram too. I open TikTok. I do all of them, but like just the way I do all those ones, that's how LinkedIn is part of like my social media per se because I'm always like scrolling, looking for jobs. I'm always applying. I'm always optimistic, right? You have to think that things are going to work out. Because what's the alternative? You have to go to that conference thinking that's where you're going to get a job. You have to write that email thinking this is the person that's going to give you the job. You have to network with that person and, you have to be able to sell yourself. Like when I'm talking to someone, but I'm like, oh, you need to employ me. I've told somebody before, I say, you are doing yourself a disservice, not by not employing me because I'm going to give you, like, you are looking at your future best employee, right? And you have to think that things are going to work out. You have to go into every opportunity, go into every conference, go into every career fair, go into every conversation, thinking that this is going to be it. And I know it can. It really can. It really can be very, because it can be very, but you just need that one. I had a friend one time. I don't think he's my friend, just an acquaintance. We used to be in University of Ghana together. And then he got a job in Shell. And then I asked him, he said he applied to over 100 companies. He didn't even get one interview. And the one interview he got a job. He said, do you know what that success rate is, like 0 point something? But he succeeded. You just need that one. That's the thing. You just need that one. If like apply to 500 and then that one interview, that one opportunity, you're just gonna get it. That one email because sometimes they even say like email opportunities. That one email you applied to. See, an opportunity hates to see me coming. There's nothing I don't apply to. Like I'm a severe applier to everything. In fact, things I don't qualify for, I apply for them. And that's also, let me tell you, I have a friend who used to say, you have to have the confidence of a middle-aged white man. Because even the things you do not qualify for, you apply. You apply for them because I'm a severe applier. An opportunity is to see me. The opportunity does not even need to pass me complete. I'm applying. I'm applying to everything. If I have some of the qualifications, I apply. If I meet some of the requirements, I apply. If I meet all, in fact, I told one of my friends, I said, I will soon start applying for CFO, CFO, CEO positions. I apply. And we laugh about it, but you have to go into every thing thinking it's gonna work out. Because what's the alternative? You think it's not gonna work out. And that's bad. So why not think good? And even if it doesn't work out, you suffer all at once. I have a friend say, if you think something bad is going to happen, and then you say, oh, something bad is going to happen, and then the thing bad happens. You've suffered twice. You suffered before the thing happened, and now you suffered the thing have happened. But if you were like, if something bad is not going to happen, and then something bad happens, you suffer only once. And then if you suffer, you say, oh, something bad is not going to happen, and something bad good happens, then you don't even suffer at all. You see? You have to think that, and it's not easy. I'm saying all this now. I keep saying it's not easy. There are days where I've woken up and it's been a literal drag to get out of bed, and it's been a little drag to even get on with my daily activities. But what really is alternative? I remember one time I was telling somebody I was getting older, and she was like, "Okay, as opposed to dying, because if you're not getting older, meaning you have died." So if you're not putting in, you have to point to yourself and you have to try. When people say, when I listen in those, when I was younger and I listened to, even me, when you see this video now that will be posted or recorded, the day I'm in my bad time and somebody show me this video, I'll be angry at myself for saying all these things. That's how hard it can be, but you have to show for yourself because what's the alternative? Maybe there isn't any.
So it's kind of vibe like it. So I like that. Like, oh, it's a thing. It's that opportunity that you get. I think that's what mindset of kids to activate. So now we are almost like wow. So I really want what's the your definition of success? Like, is it convenient, the impact, the perspectives, or do you have something else you like this to define success?
I don't know. I've had people being asked this question, and everybody give things their decision. I would say success is a personal. It's a personal. What you think success is what success is to you, and that's what I think it is, because if you asked me this question maybe a couple of years back, it would be, oh, graduate school, do your NYSC, get your master's, get a job. And I've since come to realize that success is really beyond that. And I'm not even trying to say, oh, be fulfilled. Fulfillment is great, alignment is great, and all those things can be success to somebody, right? But I think success is has personally what will happen to you and you'll be like, I've succeeded. Let me tell you, in my personal opinion, I have succeeded because I did not give up. Because um, if I hadn't keep pushing, if I hadn't, that's when I would have said no. In fact, as a person, I was telling somebody one time that even if I decided to become a medical doctor today, go and say I want that, I know I will succeed. Why? Because I have done it multiple times. I have tried hard things. I can do hard things. I know I can do hard things. I've come to a place of self-realization that I know that I can almost do anything I put my mind to. I've succeeded. I've broken the system in my own head. Like I've hacked the system. I've hacked the code. And honestly, maybe in the future, my answer to this might be different. But in my personal opinion, succeeding is what you define it to be. Another person's definition of success can never really work for you. You have to define success for yourself. And for me, I would say I am successful. Why? Because I didn't give up on myself. There were so many points in my journey where I could have given up. Like so many points in my journey, things I can talk about, things I cannot talk about, things that I can say on the air, things I can't say on the air. Like just even living life, or even just even battling with because we talk about this as health, mental illness or depression, anxiety, and pressure, all those things, they all come into play. And I know I've succeeded because I didn't let anything win. I didn't let anything take me down. So my definition of success is the fact that I would wake up tomorrow and I would go. I'll wake up and I will go because I know that, I have to go. And I feel like that to me is my own definitions. That's what I mean to have succeeded because I didn't give up on myself. And I'm here today to tell that I can't say I didn't give up on myself. That means I've succeeded. So I think success is some people, some things, they have things that if they happen to them, they'll say they've succeeded. And some people say, oh, align me to the right job. Yes, I'm going to get the right job. I know I'm going to get the right job. And even if I don't get the job I think is the right job for me, the job I'm going to be doing is going to be the right job. All right. So I'm going to work in my dream company. And if I don't work in that company, the company I'm going to be in is going to be my dream company. But the point is, I know that I can do hard things. I know I can keep doing hard things. I know that whatever challenge that is going to come, it's going to pass. I'm going to overcome. I'm going to try. And that's how I feel like I've succeeded in life because I didn't give up.
So you don't like mention their own success as yours. I like the mindset, like the mindset shifts wherever you find yourself that you didn't like this. So now, uh, I think you've given lots of advice. I wanted to actually say you should drop something for someone watching this. It probably feel they missed their original trajectory. And what's that thing? Say something really shit since then. It's like you think that would be your path if it wasn't.
I don't know that anybody misses your trajectory. It's possible. I'm not saying it's not possible. It's possible, but I think you're where you need to be, where you need to be there. And then no matter where you are right now, if you did actually think you missed your trajectory or you missed your route, you can always find yourself back. But in my own case, where you need to be, the road you're passing is the road you need to pass. Sometimes, like I said, it's possible. It's more than 100% possible for somebody to actually miss their trajectory, miss their route. But that worrying about what has passed, oh, I missed, that one has passed. You can't get it back. You can only get what is in the front. So at this very moment, you can decide today. Like I had somebody tell me, anytime you wake up is your morning. Today can be your morning. You can decide today that, oh, I'm going back. I'm going to fix it. I'm going to go back or I'm going to do the thing. But when it comes to career, in my personal opinion, I don't think people miss their trajectory when it comes to career. In my personal opinion, in my case, it hasn't been that because I feel like I remember I was telling somebody that, do you know that I always wanted to be a petroleum engineer? Let me tell you, there were two professions I wanted. I wanted to be either a petroleum engineer or a geologist. And I remember when I took JAM, I put petroleum engineering in one school and I put geology in one school. And my father is a professor in one of the schools. And my father had said that's the school I'm going to go to. So I ended up going to the school that had geology, and that was it. So somehow, maybe it has always, and even when I did geology, I remember whenever I volunteered, right? I volunteered for both SPE, NAPE, different organizations. I remember somebody telling me that why was I so more inclined towards petroleum engineering and the SPE, which was more petroleum engineering than the really geology focused was. And I remember thinking to myself that SPE had done a lot for me, right? Beyond that, I don't know, I was just inclined. And maybe, just maybe, this has been my path all along. Maybe I've always was gonna end up as a petroleum engineer, right? And I needed, even maybe I even needed this, but maybe I needed the geology of it all to be a better petroleum engineer. Maybe I needed data science to be a better petroleum engineer. So maybe this was my path to get to being a petroleum engineer. Now I'm a petroleum engineer, I'm a geologist, I'm a data scientist. And also I can say I'm a banker. My point is, I don't think, and also I'm a professor, like I teach, I'm an instructor. So I don't think anything you do in life, it really goes to waste. Even if you end up doing something completely different, like I said, skills are transferable. So don't ever think that what you're doing now is a waste of your time. Even, let me tell you, even the fact that you're doing something is a skill at all. That you wake up every day and you do something, the discipline to do something repeatedly, the same thing. That's a skill that some people don't have. Some people can't do the same thing over and over again for a long period of time. So that's also even if you don't get anything from that, the fact that you're doing something repeatedly, that's a skill. And that's a transferable skill. So if you do, I don't think anybody should think about it that, oh, I missed my way. I don't think people miss their way when it comes to career. And even if you did, you can always find your way back because anytime you wake up, it's your morning. If you wake up today, it's your morning. If you wake up by 6, it's your morning. You wake up, that's your morning. What you've lost, if you feel like, oh, I wasted my time, you cannot get it back. And it doesn't do you any good to mourn it because you've already lost it. Why lose more time worrying about something you've already lost? It's not as easy as it sounds, but that's the truth of it all. Like you have to, if you say, oh, I missed my way or I missed my path or I missed my trajectory, first of all, even coming to that realization itself is a skill. Because some people they miss their way, they don't know that they missed their way, they're still going. But you now you say, oh, I've missed my way, I missed my trajectory. Now your day of break, you can now start thinking, how do I get back to where I need to be?
Yeah, so thank you very much, Patience, for sharing the behind the scene of how you've been able to navigate. Like, I see resilience, I see dedication, I see hard work, and I see value. Like, always being valuable would actually make you relevant wherever you go to. So, this would actually come as a new addition. We're trying to see how we can um, introduce something. So this is, you are going to be asking the next person to join this conversation a question. So you don't know who the person is. It could either be a male or a female. And the person obviously might not be in the oil and gas industry because this is not about the oil and gas industry, it's just about people living life and telling us what it is they went through so that someone else along the same line can actually learn or like that. So just come up with a question that the next person has to answer.
Mm. I know people talk a lot about imposter syndrome, right? And there's a part of you that want to think, why should I have imposter syndrome? I did all the things to
Mhm.
get here, right? But a lot of time, I wouldn't say I feel like a fraud, but I feel like I don't feel as impressive as I think. Like when recently, just recently, my boss, I presented something and my boss was like, oh, very good job. And I was telling my friend, every time I present something, this one's always like, wow, very good job. And I talk to other people and I'm like, am I really doing a good job? Like, or am I just, how do you deal with that? So it would be imposter syndrome, but I don't want to say it as imposter syndrome because I don't think that I do have imposter syndrome. But how do you deal with when do you actually believe that? How do they imposter syndrome? How do you deal with imposter? That's the simple way to say it. How do you deal with
Okay.
imposter? The daily, because not that I'm just coming back to imposter syndrome as a thing because maybe as a whole you don't have imposter syndrome, but like your day-to-day nuances of your life, how do you feel worthy? Like, oh, I'm doing a good job, or I'm doing a great job, or what I'm doing is
Mhm.
the right. So yeah,
Okay. Thank you very much. And
thank you so much for
wow,
having
this
this
was
conversation. I had a good time.
this was an awesome time, like learning from you, listening to how you've been able to navigate several phases of your life. I have learned, and I believe whoever is watching this would actually pick not just one, not just two, several things. Is it from looking at, um, I think for me, it was like you had a goal, you were working towards what you wanted, because even while you were still in the banking school, when you applied to the banking job, you were still pursuing the dream of you going for your master's degree outside the country and all of it. So it's more like you were going for gold, going for what you wanted. And today you are so many things in one. And that is actually worth celebrating. So thank you once again for coming to share behind the scene. Now we
Thank you.
see where your energy is actually coming from. Thank you
Thank
and
you.
bye.
Yeah.